Hmm. Hello, feminine. I find myself lost in thoughts of you. And the funny thing is, I don't have any complaints about that. I feel like I spent so much time armoring myself up for the thought that if I thought, if I let myself really think about all of who you are and enjoy the good parts, well, I think to be honest, I think I just knew that I would just fall in love with you over and over again. I can't tell you how hard it's been, feminine, trying to keep myself convinced that you were ultimately the bad guy. Though somehow, I don't feel, some parts of me feel like you're the only one that could, and other parts of me feel like it's not that you're the only one that could, it's that you're the only one that would find me worthy of, I don't know, manifesting a beautiful life that always includes me in it, which is something that, I mean, you used to do that for me when we were in union. I remember telling you it was one of, I feel like I've had all these small moments of revelations, and I've some of it I've told you, and some of it I feel like I told you, and I don't know if maybe this is that 5D experience or something, but I feel like I've had so many conversations with you in my head that I mean, I told myself for a long time they were just in my head and that I was just crazy, but I feel like on some level we must be having them. And I feel like there's been so many times that I've come to the realization that the things you called me out on, the ways you spun me out, the expectations that you had of me, that I made a big deal out of such very little things. What you used to say, making a mountain out of a molehill, my rabbit trails, distraction chickens. It always comes back to that, doesn't it, feminine? Somehow you've always done that. You picked something to tell me that I need to do that, like, strikes at the heart of my ego. And I don't know, it just spins me out, and I feel like then it becomes the thing that I have to do in order to get out of whatever dimension it jumped me into. And then once I do it, I look back and see that if I'd just done that in the first place, I could have shortcutted everything that I went through along the way to get there. And somehow you're also, I feel like, the only person who would, even if anyone else could, be the one to tell me that there's nothing unnatural about that. That it's perfectly human to go through just, I don't know, how do you call it, weird pocket dimensions, going through experiences that we need to learn the karma in order to become the person that we want to be, moments when the planets align and we go back and forth in time without actually going back and forth in time. To be honest, I mean, I don't understand all of it, but I feel like somehow you make the rest of the world just seem so much more interesting than it I feel like anybody else sees it as. And I see that you're not alone, and I see that, I don't know, I feel like I see the pain that I put you through, and I really thought that I broke you, and there's always, I feel like it highlighted for me a fear that I've had since I met you. I know that you're not fragile, but I've always seen this interesting sort of innocence in you, and I think it was a reflection of the innocence that I saw in me, and I always felt like I feared that I would break you and that you would never be fixable, and you were the rock in my life in so many ways. And I feel like that's where we got. That's what created the big pushing away, for lack of a more comfortable thing to call it right now. I felt like I broke you, and I feel like there is truth to that. But like anybody else, anybody else feminine, I feel like everybody else around me is playing this game of who can be the biggest victim, and none of them are really doing anything with their lives. Like they're majoring in minor things of it, who needs more, who takes more, who did the worst thing. It's a bunch of drama. It just feels like a bunch of noisy energy to me. And I don't want that anymore. And I feel like I was so silly to have been in a place of not just seeing that from the get-go. I guess I'm still beating up on myself and not letting myself be human and be okay with letting myself grow. I've realized that a lot during the separation feminine, that I've been so afraid of change. That's what's held me back a lot. But I feel like everything that we've been through and the crazy ways that spirit has brought us to rendezvous, or I don't know what you call it, but the ways that we've connected when I didn't think it was possible, when I didn't think these things would happen, when I felt more stuck than anything. And I watched in the same time and space that I had, where I thought that I would do so much better, because I just thought that I needed the right 3D conditions. I needed enough money. I needed the right garage space. I needed the property. I felt like I had to have some sort of marker before I could give myself permission to be more, to let myself feel, to let myself even for a minute be open to exploring the pocket worlds of love, as you might call them. I think I thought that happiness was somewhere in them, that like I would get there and then they'd just happen. I'm not really sure where I got that from, but it felt like that. And it certainly felt like even if I could get free of my karmic situations, that somehow it just wouldn't be enough for you. Like, not that you wouldn't accept it, but that in my own mind, I couldn't accept me as a version of me that I knew I could do better. And I felt like you deserved the best version of me. And I can look back now and see how I spent so much time trying to pedestal myself, that if I wasn't perfectly honest, if I wasn't perfectly sober, if my bills weren't in perfect position, all this stuff, that if it wasn't there, it was never going to be good enough for you. And I felt bad because I knew that you felt that energy for me. You told me so many times that life didn't have to be perfect. It was the perfect imperfections that made it more fun. And I love that about you. And yet I still could not get out of my mind that it just felt like I felt like I could be so much more, and I was ashamed of myself for what little I'd done in all the time, and especially the time we were together, the freedom and the space and the encouragement that I had, and I did so little with it. And then I did it again in separation, and I feel like I feel like that was the lesson that Spirit and maybe you were trying to teach me, that I gotta believe in myself and stop holding on to people and threads that everybody says that they need me, and everybody says they love me, and everybody says they're my friend and they'll always be there for me. But this whole time, it's mostly just been me for me. And I know you would have been there more. I wouldn't let you. I feel like the more things that you warned me about that would happen when you were just trying to protect me, that bratishly pushed them away arrogantly, petulantly, and then as they happened, I became more and more mad at myself, and then I found myself being more mad with you, and that created more miscommunications, and then it just felt safer not to say anything at all because between the mixture of what you seem to know intuitively that nobody else knew and how well you're able to read even in the now, in the times when I'm quiet in the 3D, I know you're able to understand what that silence means in whatever special way you're able to do that. But I tell you what, feminine, I feel like looking ahead, I feel like I've started to learn that lesson that things are always going to be better than I have been imagining them to be. I feel like I'm kind of making that a mantra of mine right now, that it'll be better than I imagined. It'll be better than I feared. I've been kind of practicing that, kind of trying it on in the mirror in the mornings when I get in the car. And even if I'm late, it'll go better than I imagined. If I speak up about something, it'll go better than I imagined. And the crazy thing is, feminine, it is working. And I remember, and I feel bad for being judgy because I told myself that you were just being silly, that was just some superstitious stuff that didn't really work. And I can see that how much shadow work I've done so far just in getting to the place where I can see that it's not just silly. And that there is value in going back and healing the things in our past that cause us to manifest more pain in the future. I've been trying to do my homework too because I just love watching you glow up in this energy of everything you're learning and sharing and how it's changing lives around you. Just you being you. You being willing to share who you are. And I see you and sometimes when I see you and I go, or when we talk, I just think, damn it. Like, how can she both be so close and so far away? How could she be so mine and yet not mine? And then I also think about how, you've healed so much that I know it's not a waiting game anymore. I feel like I felt the end of the waiting energy. I can't even describe with the right words what that means, but it feels like you're done waiting. And if my worst nightmare of a Prince Charming were to show up for you and be respectful and honorable and fun, that you might not turn him down at this point, and I wouldn't blame you. Though it's weird because it feels like there's not an urgency in it at this moment. It feels like you are free, that you are just being you, and I don't know, feminine, it feels like just you being you with no urgency towards me or anything else, and I can feel that you're working on your passion projects and you're not broken. Maybe I did break you, maybe I didn't, but you're not broken. You've healed from things that not just I did to you, but the things that the world brought on. Deaths around you, changes in friendships and status and money. You've gone through your own physical health struggles. And I've seen the contrast around me of other people going through similar things. And so many of them are just staying there in those dimensions. And others are doing things that I can tell, feminine, they'd never admit it, but they've been following in your footsteps. Some of them faking it till they make it sort of thing, seeing if they can pull it off, and others I see them actually doing it. And they're getting many of the same results that you are. You've always been sort of a trendsetter. I remember telling you that, and you didn't believe me. But you have been, and I see this incredible journey that you've decided to take on to help heal the world in ways that we don't even really know yet. And that's part of what just makes me just go, And I feel like something's changed within me, feminine, that I'm not fully the new me yet, but I'm definitely not the old me anymore. And I feel like there's going to have to be some theater, as you might call it, in order for me to finish getting free of a situation that I created when I was being very dramatic and theatrical in not good ways. So I hope that in whatever absurdities get presented in the 3D, that you will hold on to faith and that you will continue to send up visions of us having delightful times in the future. I feel like somehow you've been sending stuff like that to me, because some of the things, some of the daydreams, the visions, even the night dreams are experiences with you that we've never had before and that I know I would never have thought of, but you would have. And more importantly, I'm starting to see more dreams where I'm doing things for me. And I know, feminine, you get tired of the waiting, but I also know that you have the best sense of humor of anybody ever, and I know that I'm worth taking the time to get myself into a physical and emotional place where I feel worthy of of coming to you. So it's not just that I left the karmic and ran to you, or I got in trouble and needed your help. No, feminine. Even though I know you would accept me in any state, I'm not going to do that, because I'm worth the wait, and I'm worth getting myself to where I feel good about me. I feel like I've done the honorable thing for long enough that I can maintain that energy, because I know that you will challenge me in it. You will trigger me in it every moment. You always do. And I love it because I feel like it's like in the movies when the man will say she makes me want to be a better man. And I used to not quite get that because I thought, well, doesn't that make you feel like you're not a good man? But I can I can see all the same plot lines and twists to where it's a similar thing. And the bad boy wants to be the good man.